Good evening and welcome to the second round of our Procar 1980s series, coming to you tonight from the Grand Prix de Monaco of the 1980 season. This was one of the support races during the F1 GP weekend of that year, and based on the track itself and the somewhat unruliness of these cars, it's probably going to be a lot of fun tonight, especially for us viewers, and hopefully our drivers will have a good bit of fun as well. Looking at the situation out on track at the moment, we are in warm-up. Thanks for bearing with us, and pardon being a little bit late. One of my Sunday pleasures is playing Dungeons & Dragons, which is a tabletop role-playing game, and we had a bit of a thing happen, so I needed a few moments just to calm myself down and get myself back in the mood for broadcasting. Looking at the track itself, Circuit de Monaco, it's a 3.328 kilometer long temporary circuit in the heart of the Monaco city area. Our drivers will be doing 25 laps here tonight, which will equal just over 83 kilometers. And if we have a look at the points, the points structure for this series is 20 points for first place, 15 points to second, then 12 to third, 10 to fourth, and then it drops to 8 for fifth, 6th for sixth, 6 points for sixth, 4 points for seventh, and then dropping by 1 point down to 10th. A couple of notifications. Drivers need to complete 90% of the race distance to be eligible for points, which tonight would equal 22.5 laps, so effectively 23 laps our drivers need to complete tonight to be eligible for points. And in terms of the points themselves, top 5 is the top 5 finishing order from last time out at Donington. So Serge Lapinski leads on 20 points, Grant Ridall second on 15, Richard Wilkes third on 12, Giovanni Centorame fourth with 10 points, and Anders Nilsson rounds out the top 5, having 8 points scored. And considering the race is probably going to be quite hectic, we will have a quick look at the trivia questions, so you have something to think about if by any stretch of the imagination the action out on track is not up to being entertaining enough. So the question for you tonight is, in the late 1970s, which Italian car manufacturer entered into an agreement with BMW to build a production racing car in sufficient quantity for homologation, but later had difficulties which prompted BMW to produce said car themselves? Was it A, Ferrari, B, Lamborghini, or C, Dallara? It's a very good question, and if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But it's something to ponder during tonight's proceedings. Couple of notifications. These are the 1980 BMW M1 Procar specifications. 3.5 litre inline straight 6-cylinder engine. Mid-longitudinal position, i.e. mounted sideways. Double overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder. 470 brake horsepower at 9,000 RPM. A fiberglass body box section steel frame and weighing in just over 1,000 kilograms, or just under 2,250 pounds. And in terms of the tires, the drivers will have 2 sets of tires for the event, meaning qualifying, warm-up and race. But let's actually bring ourselves to the track proper and see what is happening out there. Ooh dear. There we go. And let's see if we can get a lap in. Ray Riddle coming around. Let's see if he's going to go around. He does. So let's jump on board. Ooh. I think I may need to leave the server for a moment and up the detail a little bit. Yes, I will. I'll do that. Actually, I probably should do that now. But through turn 1 there, but I'll very quickly go and do that so that we have that sorted. My apologies for that slight hiccup, but bear with us, we'll be right back on track. Right, we are back out on track. Let's see if we can find Giovanni Centorame coming around for a lap. So let's check out a lap around this beautiful circuit de Monaco. Down the curved front straight into a somewhat bumpy braking zone into turn 1. Very tight right-hander. Very easy to run wide into the barrier on the left side. Then we go up the hill, turning right and left as we go, up into the casino section, left-hander, which tightens very abruptly here, then opens again over a crest and into this right-hander, which very easy to get the car light. Here we have the crest that F1 cars goes around, and then into a tight downhill braking zone, into a tight right-hand hairpin, down another bit of an declement, and down into an even tighter hairpin. The hairpin that forces F1 cars to have a specific steering rack for this track. Down through a right between the walls, under the bridge, and into a right-hander onto the back straight and into the tunnel. One of the most beautiful places to stand and just listen to the cars when the race is on. Down to a downhill braking zone, slightly curved, into this tight chicane. Very easy to make a mistake here and have an off. Difficult exit there as well. Down into the swimming pool section, left-hander here. And then the straight is somewhat curved, down into left-right chicane. Down under the Marlboro, down on the Fosters, and into a right-left chicane. And very easy to run wide here as well, as we saw Verstappen do a couple of years ago. Down through Iceberg and into the final section. One of the most tricky ones on the track, and the final corner up ahead, but Centorame does a quick little pit stop test here. Here is Anders Nilsson, and let's have a listen to the car in the tunnel. Beautiful engine sounds in this mod. Unfortunately, to make sure I'm heard, I've still trying to tweak the sounds, but I hope the engine sounds are sufficient for you to be able to enjoy them when the camera is close to the action. And let's see, so Grant is quickest in Cesarius, quickest so far, championship leader. So looks like Cesarius is strong here again tonight, as is Grant and is Anders. Tim a little bit further up than he was last time in his Team Schnitzer BMW. Then we have Centoram in 5th in this warm-up session, with Rob de Vries in 6th for Scuderia Basilea. Quite nice to see there. Peter Lavac is driving one of the GS tuning cars. I don't think he was driving last time out. If I'm wrong, then apologies for mistaking that. I think we had a couple of one-off drives. We have Mateus da Silva in the number 42, Jürgensen and Son entry. And we have Simon Wattman again in the Marco Rennsport entry. And I believe Ricardo Mendes was in that car last time as well, as was Alan. I'm unsure who the last one-off driver is, but anyway, time has run out, and it looks like Schlapinski, Ridol, Nilsson, Hill and Centorame are those to be watching, and I do hope that Rob de Vries and Peter Lavac has some good races here tonight. That would be good fun to watch, but either way, the race will be just around the corner. And there we are, we'll just be awaiting them to grid up. There we are. Took a little bit of time for it to set up properly. So there will be 25 laps and 1 formation lap before we get this race going proper. But on pole position we have Cesarius Schlapinski in the number 5 Nelson PK BNS Fabrications entry. Second on the grid is Grant Ridol in the number 40 Project 4 Valvoline entry. Anders Nilsson is third on the grid for BMW Austria in the Gösse Bea entry. Alberto Aquino, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Hopefully no damage there, that was a bit of a lag situation it looked like. Alberto Aquino fourth on the grid for BNS Fabrications, number 27. Giovanni Santorame is 5th for Sol Auto BMW. Gabriel Sturr lines up 6th for Kanacher GT. Juha Boos is 7th for Sauber Racing Switzerland. And Tim Hiller lines up 8th for Team Schnitzer, number 63. Jon Tim is 9th on the grid in the Manfred Casani Racing entry, number 55. One of the more clever livery ideas over the years. Rob de Vries lines up 10th for Scuderia Basilea, number 61. Peter Lavac is lining up 11th for GS Tuning. David Saber lines up 12th for BNS Fabrications. Ricardo Mendes 13th, one of the team behind in the team car, number 27. Luciano Rocha lines up 14th for Scuderia Basilea, with Keo Michiels lining up 15th in the second GS Tuning car. Hedison Oliveira is 16th on the grid for Alimpo Motorsport. I'm fairly sure Hedison is a one-off driver in that number 99 car. Ray Vidal 17th for GS Tuning. Mikael Drexler 18th for Mazzario team. His teammate Francisco Amaral lines up 19th, with Simon Wattmann for Marco Rennsport rounding out the top 20. Matt Sibagnone is in the pits and will presumably start from the pits in the Eggenberger Motorsports entry. Mateus da Silva 22nd for Jürgensen and Son. Alan Santo lines up 23rd for Team Schnitzer, with Alberto Ibanez 24th for BNS Fabrications. Dave Miller lines up 25th for Sauber Racing Switzerland. And he is the final car on the grid, so it looks like Alan Santo is slightly out of position, but that should be no problem at all. So now we're just waiting for them to get themselves onto the grid here, for what's going to be a very interesting race. Let's see. Flag orders is on the way. And the race is underway, and a penalty for Dave Miller. Probably a jump start. Oh, and Mendes gets out of the way there. But looks like everyone is snaking into turn 1 all right. Give or take a tiny bit of contact. We can see Mendes there on the inside, but looks like everyone survived the opening turn. At the top of the hill. Ooh, Hiller looking up the inside of the Sol Auto car there. But everyone looks to have survived that. Down into right-hander here, and then the hairpin. You can see everyone snaking through. Slapinski in the lead, Vidal second, Nilsson third, Equino fourth, Boos fifth, Santorame sixth, Hiller seventh, Sir eighth, Tim ninth, and Saber rounding out the top 10. Oh, and a bit of a stack up at the back there. Looks like Wattmann up a ways, and Mendes looking for a move on Silva. Both of them fighting hard back there. And down into the chicane. Let's see, hopefully everyone is able to maneuver this location safely as well, because this is the last really dangerous spot on the track on this opening lap. Looks like everyone has sorted themselves out and the race is underway proper. So at the front, Slapinski leads, Vidal second, Nilsson third. Let's see where the battle is looking to be. And with what we saw last time out, I reckon around here the rear tires will take the major amount of the beating, so we'll have to wait and see what comes of the tires. As Dave Miller there, we can see into the pits for a drive-through. And looks like he is keeping to the 100 kph speed limit that we have for drive-throughs here at ISO. Nicely done. And he is back out and on the way. Sadly, nearly at the very back. Ooh, someone off. Oh, that's Alan Santo off. Unfortunately. But looks like he will be able to get himself... Ooh, that's a hefty off with the front end there. Presumably locked up and went straight on there. Very unfortunate, but kind of thing that can happen occasionally. It looks like towards the front of the field, the closest trio at the moment. As we can see there, Alan Santo unfortunately has retired the car. Is Centorame, Hille and Stir running together and trying to make up some time. Maybe a position or two too. You can see that Stir dropping back a little bit through the swimming pool section. Both of them slightly catching up to balls in that section too. So let's jump on board with Johan, look back towards Centorame and Hille. Slight luck up there, but he got the car slowed down enough. And we can see that it's very much an ebb and flow, just like last time too, where you can get one corner where you go, yes, that was great, and then you get to another turn where you go, ooh, that was not good at all. Then a third turn where it's in the middle. By the way, Hille is under attack from Stir at the moment. Noticed Hille had a bit of a slow hairpin. And Stir was able to close in. Oh, and there's a great scrap in behind there. Looks like Saber is holding off the attentions of De Vries and Hlavac. Ooh, and Saber deep into the barrier, unfortunately. And that's De Vries up the inside and taking a position away. So De Vries up into the top 10. Then we can see Saber definitely holding up Hlavac and the others behind, and former Rocha, maybe even Michiels and Ray as well. May already be feeling somewhat held up by this train of cars in front. We can see there's a bit of fender damage on the front left of Saber's car. And we can see that how difficult it is to pass around this track if no one makes a mistake, because it's so close between the barriers, and it's one of those where you really need to brave it to be able to make a move. Oh, and speaking of that, Hlavac trying round outside here. Oh, and Saber runs a little bit deep in there and shuts that off. Oh no, all crossed up in a hairpin though. Goes for a spin, and all the others goes through. Well weighted, really well done. A little bit of a dangerous situation there maybe, but it looks like he'll be able to get off the curbing eventually. There he goes, and he'll be able to get back going again. So unfortunately down to 20th for David, but was a good very decent recovery from a position that was very difficult to sort out. So that means Hlavac up to 11th, Rocha 12th, Michiels 13th, Ray Riddall 14th, Oliveira 15th, Drexler 16th, Amaral 17th, Batman 18th, and Mendes 20th, with Saber then as we said, down to 20th. Alberto Ibanez in behind him, his teammate. And then we have Dave Miller trying to make up for lost time with his drive-through. Looks like a nice little move there on Alberto Senior. And Matheus da Silva trying to make up time as well. Up the inside there as Ibanez ran a little bit wide. And look at that, Shlapinski with a big lead at the moment. With Grant Riddle second and Nilsson shadowing him in third still. Quino still in fourth, but now... no, that's still the same. Bors in fifth and Hiller in sixth. Looks like Centorama has dropped back. Maybe with a bit of a mistake or being passed by a set of cars. Oh, that's a spin! So maybe that's what happened last time too. Bit too much brake bias towards the rear, I think, and that's what happens. And then you have to be very disciplined and wait until there's an opening big enough for you to be able to turn the car around. And it looks like he'll be able to, yep, nicely done. Sadly down to 19th for him, but very good to see the discipline to wait until there's a big enough gap to be able to do that turnaround and get back going. So that means now Rob de Vries up to 9th and Hlavac into the top 10 with Rocha 11th and Michiels 12th, Ridol 13th, Oliveira 14th and Drexler 15th. Looked like Hlavac was very close to the Vries into turn 1, but ran just a bit too hot into there and lost out on the exit. But this looks like the battle to have a look at the moment. Look at that, Hlavac really quick mid-corner, but nowhere to go when Rob de Vries is in front of him. As Matheus da Silva has sadly retired as well, I see now. That's very unfortunate, and looks like Saber has had another moment and dropped further back into 22nd now. So a few ups and downs, and this track taking a few victims here already. As we have Shlapinski still leading with 7 laps in the books. Grant in second, Nilsson third. Queen of fourth, and Bors trying to catch up to him in fifth. Hiller sixth. Stir here in seventh, with Jon Tim in eighth. Here comes the battle between de Vries and Hlavac. Hlavac has been able to close up a little bit again. Then here comes another close battle between Rocha, Michiels and Ray trying to hook onto that as well. Amaral 14th, Drexler 15th with Wattman close by in 16th. Mendes 17th, Centorama down to 18th, so Centorama gaining 1 position on Oliveira, who's had a moment and dropped back. And then we have Miller, who must have had a second moment, down in 20th now. I believe he was a little bit further up. Ibanez in 21st, and then looks like Saber may have actually been into the pits to do some repairs because he's quite a ways back. Here he comes at the bottom of the hill. Oh, and Tim a little bit crossed up there, but holding onto the car nicely. The Prix somewhat likewise. Lavac has now dropped back, so Lavac must have made a mistake. And Ray now passed Michiels, so Michiels must have made a mistake. Oh, and Francisco Amaral into the barriers a little bit there. Oh, Michiels really close to striking the barriers with his right hand side of the car. We can see all of them having to work really hard to get the brakes to work around here. All these curved braking zones must be a pain. Ooh, and Michiels locked up and slightly notching the barrier. This battle is real close. We can see there's a bit of understeer in the hairpin for most of the guys, so it's probably a case of, because it's mid-engined, it sort of pushes a little bit when you put the power on, because the weight, even if when you're off throttle as well, because there's very little weight in the front to get the tires in the front to work properly in the really slow speed stuff. At least that's the interpretation I'm going to make. I noticed there's a bit of a yellow. Doesn't look like it was in front and not too far behind either, so maybe just the Prix having to stop for a moment, but I don't think so. It was just one of those. I think it was the Prix slowing down because he was passed by Lavac, and that made for him to slow down enough to where the yellow flag was needed. So Lavac up to 9th, the Prix down to 10th. And then this battle for 11th still raging on. And further up, looked like it was fairly close between Bors and Equino for just a moment ago. But the gap has opened up once again. Let's return back to that battle that we were following just a few moments ago. Gray just slightly nudged the barriers then. It forced him to run just a little bit wide, but hopefully no damage to the car. At least nothing major, as Alberto Ibanez has sadly retired as well. can see there on the right front fender a little bit of a bump, so we definitely struck the barriers, but hopefully only the uh, the uh, the fiberglass body, the damage sustained. It looks like Mendes has been passed. I noticed there was a battle going on between him and Centorame. Centorame has been able to make that move stick. Owen Saber still with trouble in that car, unfortunately, but soldiering on, that's all we can really ask for. Trying his best to get the car to the finish. Mendes slightly close to the barriers there, but I think that ought to be all right. It looks like Centorame trying to get to grips with Drexler here. Oh dear, that's a strike against the wall. Hopefully no major damage for Centorame, but you never know for certain. But he's real close to Drexler now, so maybe a chance up into turn 1 if he gets a good exit. Look decent to me. When he's trying, but there's no room. These M1s are quite wide. Ooh. Owen Mendes trying to take advantage. Centorame going for the outside move on Drexler, but the door was closed. And Mendes trying to sneak up the inside, not able to make it work, and the battle is now in the mirrors for Centorame, as Mendes looks really racy. Large has been able to pass Jonatan and is closing in on Tim Heller as well. Juha Boos has been able to catch and just must have been just a moment ago past Equino down into the chicane. So Boos up into 4th now, but a good 15 seconds already behind the leading trio. And it looks like the tires are starting to give some of the drivers a little bit of a hard time. And like I expected, the rears definitely so. So a few of the drivers are looking a little bit ragged, trying to get the power down. Lavage visually faster than Tim, so let's continue checking this battle out for a moment. On board with Lavage, looking forward towards Tim Heller. Car hard is Lavage. Tim in 9th still and the Rees still in 10th. And then this battle where Michiels has now passed Ray Rideau. And Amaral has been starting to catch up as well and trying to vie into this. Ooh, Michiel's all sideways, but car slowed down enough. Ooh, but a bit of a strike on the inside barrier there. So we can see that the drivers can do that to an extent. Slightly sort of get away with it, but obviously the danger is one of those times it could lead to a puncture, for example, as we have a yellow. Oh, that's Rob de Vries with a spin at turn 1. So a lot of time lost. Oh, and we can see behind as well. That was Michiels off and Rocha off in response, I suppose one could say. So Michiels down to 14th, Rocha down to 13th, Amaral up to 12th, and Ridol up to 11th. That's how easy things can change. Dear me. Well, Michiels all crossed up, able to hold on to the car though. Berta Junior still giving Juha some grief here, trying to get that 4th place back. Lavac has dropped back from Hill a little bit. He's still holding on to 10th though, with Ray and Amaral not too far behind. Rocha doing his best to try and hold off Michiel's advances at the moment. Center arm is slightly crossed up into there. Mendes and Wattmann looks to be having a decent battle here. Ren Sport versus BNS Fabrications. And we have Dave Miller up into 19th now, Oliveira down to 20th, Saber 21st. Looks like Grant is currently catching up to Schlapinski. Possibly down to a bit of lapping as well, but still that's interesting to see. Maybe there's a battle on for the win still. As Dave very sportingly gets out of the way of Grant there. And is clearly distanced, but in a very secure third. Bors now with a bit of air between himself and Alberto Junior. Oh, and a bit more air now that Quino made a tiny error. And it actually looks like Stur is slowly catching up to Alberto Junior as well. And we have Tim Hiller still in 7th, with Lavac 8th, Jan Tim 9th, and De Vries still in 10th. The gap here is still out and about. Slight gap now between Rocha and Michiels. Central 15th, actually 16th. Mendes all too fast into there. Hopefully no puncture from that. Maybe somewhat crooked right front steering, but hopefully no puncture or further damage. As Schlapinski is between them now, so Wattmann has dropped back a little bit. So let's see what happens with that gap between Schlapinski and Grant. As that's now the closest battle on track, I reckon. With give it 5.5 laps to go. It looks like these two have slightly different strengths and weaknesses. Grant looks a little bit more at home in the really fast stuff, while Ślepiński looks to be a little bit quicker in the really slow turns. Notice now Sturr and Hill are really close. So Sturr must have made a mistake because he's dropped back from Equino by a few seconds, and now we see Hill actually pushing Sturr along. And we have Hlavac still trying to get to grips with these two. Oh, and that is Hedison Oliveira, I think, with a bit of a loop on the exit of Casino. So it looks like he is waiting for an opening. Here he feels like he has it. Very nicely done. Good work. Looks like Ślepiński has been able to stave off Grant's attack. So it looks like first and second is secured, as ought to be third place with nearly what is now 20 seconds between Anders and Juha. Oh, Alberto Equino in trouble. I think he may have overrun the chicane, as he's now down to 8th. When Michiels is out as well. That's highly unfortunate for both of them. Oh, and Drexler, I think, ran deep as well. That right hand rubbed the hill there. He was fighting Santorama, so I think he outbroke himself in that battle. So with Equino down to 8th, Hlavac climbs to 7th, Hille up to 6th, and Sturr up to 5th. With Bors now in a secured 4th. Anders likewise in 3rd, and Grant should be, barring any mishaps, secure in 2nd. So let's see whether Hille can get to grips with Sturr here. Oh, Stir in trouble. That looked like a screen freeze or something. As he's now in 6th, Hill up to 5th. That's so unfortunate for Gabriel. And now further issues. Outbraking himself at the chicane there, but Hlavac not able to make a move. So unfortunate for Gabriel. Gabriel. Unsure how it's specifically said in German, but either way, Stirred back to 6th, and now a three-way fight here, as Hlavac is closely following him, and Alberto Junior likewise behind Hlavac. Ooh, Hlavac again with a bit of trouble with the inside curb in that chicane there. Dropping a bit of time to Stir with that, and Equino bit crossed up, going through the swimming pool chicanes. So 2 laps to go. Actually, is that 24 laps complete, I think. So Hlavac starts his final lap. Oh, someone has had an off. I heard it in the background. But looks like everyone is back going wherever that happened. Equino trying for a move on Hiller, but not making it happen. Hlavac holding on. Actually, Hlavac up into 6th here, so Hlavac made a move on Hiller. And Stir in 5th. So maybe it was Hiller who made a tiny error, and that's why Hlavac was possible. Oh no, Hlavac slowing! Okay, he's going again, so he probably missed a gear. That's unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, into the chicane comes Cesarius for what I believe is the final time. the battle behind the Stur has a bit of a gap now to Hille, Equino, Hlavac. But Flapinski through the final turn, and it looks like he is on his way to a second set of 20 points here. As he crosses the start-finish line, and now he starts the final lap. I don't like how certain simulators do lap counting. So let's see if Hille will be able to catch up to Stur, or whether Equino will be able to do anything about Hille, or if it will be status quo. So they are now starting the final laps. Looks like for now it'll be remaining status quo. Coming through the swimming pool chicanes for the final time now. Flapinski in the BNS Fabrications entry number 5, driven IRL by Nelson PK, is on his way to win this second round of the Procar 1980 Championship, and celebrating already he is, as coming towards the start-finish line comes Slapinski to take his second win in the championship. Grant there crosses the line to finish second in this race. And then we have Anders Nilsson on his way now to finish third. So it's podium finish for Anders. I think he'll be relatively happy with that. Juha looks to be finishing fourth, Stur in fifth here. And let's see back here, Hille is in sixth. Equino is 7th now. Hlavac dropped back to 8th indeed, with the missed gear 2 laps ago. But Juha Boers comes across the finish line now to finish 4th for Sauber Racing Switzerland. Stur just in front of the rest, as Stur comes across to finish 5th. Then we have Hille 6th, Equino 7th, and Hlavac finishing in 8th. And then we have Jon Tim finishing 9th for 2 points. Looks like he is relatively happy with points. And then we have Rob de Vries, nice quiet drive to what is looking to be 1 point in the championship standings in the Procar Championship. And then we have Ray Riddle, looks to be about to finish 11th. Francisco Amaral looks to be finishing 12th, with Luciano Roja in 13th. That is indeed the case. Giovanni Centorame has finished 14th, with Drexler 15th, Ricardo Mendes 16th, Simon Wattmann 17th, Dave Miller 18th, David Saber has finished 19th, and then our retirees were Keo McKeels, Hedison Oliveira, Alberto Ibanez, Mateus da Selva, Alan Santo, and unfortunately with a no start for Matthew Sebagnone. And while we wait to see if any of the drivers are on their way to the broadcast booth, we'll have a little look-see at the trivia question and what is coming up here at ISO in the near future. So the question for you all this evening was, in the late 1970s, which Italian car manufacturer entered into an agreement with BMW to build a production racing car in sufficient quantity for homologation, but later had difficulties which prompted BMW to produce said car themselves? Was it A. Ferrari, B. Lamborghini, or C. Dallara? And the answer is B. Lamborghini. Congratulations to any of you who knew that or guessed correctly. And coming up here at ISO in the near future is in what I believe is 2 weeks' time. Make that 3 weeks' time. The 6th Gran Premio di San Marino, round 3 out of 16 for our 1986 Formula One Championship, which will take place at the San Marino circuit, a race in real life which was won through fuel saving, or lack of fuel saving in some cases, which should probably become a very interesting race to watch, especially towards the end when you see who has actually been able to make the fuel to make it to the finish. But with no drivers on their way to the booth here, we will cap off the broadcast. So to all of you watching, thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you to all our drivers and organizers for putting together this event. And until next time, which looks to be in 3 weeks' time at San Marino, take care of each other, be kind, and have a great few weeks. Good night, everyone.